Hello, welcome to the Titans channel. Glad to see you here once again. Today we have very important, you know, um, topic to discuss in this episode in the series on goal setting for youth empowerment. And if you're here, you're welcome. If you are coming back here as a subscriber, bless you for being part of the YouTube family. Spread the word to your friends, share the messages, let a friend learn the golden nuggets that you are also getting. Let them get a portion actually, don't be selfish. Share it actually. You can call me the philosopher, you can also call me elder. I respond to any of them. We want to learn from the mistakes of others. That's the basic definition of wisdom. People will learn from the mistakes of others. So if you're here, you're more than wise. And continue that wisdom by sharing this message with others. And please invite people to subscribe. Want to hit 100? Want to hit 100 before we hit second quarter. So invite people to subscribe so that we can spread the word and put people on the path to significance. Actually, um, I like the message. That one motivational speaker says, "See you at the top." You want to see people at the top in whatever endeavor they find themselves. Okay, what is so important today? We don't even talk about goal setting. It will not be right to talk about goal setting and make it look rosy because the saying that too much of everything is bad is one of the closest saying to universal saying, and it holds true even in the case of goal setting, as noble and as effective as it is. And we're going to talk about some of the things that can become a disadvantage when you're dealing with goal setting. So we're talking about five reasons why goal setting can actually five disadvantages of goal setting. Five disadvantages of goal setting. Okay, let's go to the first one. Let's just get it out of the way. Um, Setting goals and failing to achieve them could make you think you are a failure when actually you could be doing just fine. It's just that your setting goals were not achieved. They could have been too narrowly set. They could have been set on things that are within your reach. They could have been far too ambitious, but they could end up actually making you think you're a failure when you're actually the envy of your peers. And it has happened severally in several places, actually. I'm sure you've heard of people who come to Ghana from a temperate region and are shocked we don't have hot water. When Ghana you could bath cold water in every weather. Well, it's become the trans the sort of having a hot water in your house has become a goal that they expect you meet everywhere they go, even though it's not reasonable, especially coming to a developing country and a tropical country for that matter, where the weather is mostly hot. So, and it's another reason why there's a lot of sadness, in many achieving nations because the typical example is South Korea. There's a lot of drunkenness. In fact, they drink more per capita than any other group. Why? Because they are so goal oriented, and in it, most of them are high achievers, and they walk with their heads down, believing because they have not met certain goals, they are failures. It is not true. So that's one of the things that setting goals can do. It can make you think you're a failure if you don't set the right goals. Okay, number two. The number two reasons why, for number two disadvantage of setting goals is that um, goal setting can make you think others without goals are aimless in life. You know, and it's very typical. Yeah, people will talk about I don't examine life, but somebody may be examining his life, may have time set to examine his life without it having, written goals down. Even though it's more effective to write goals, somebody may not have written goals, but maybe you're obsessed with a goal that has taken his mind or taken her mind has taken over his or her body. So goal setting, people who set goals usually think those who don't set goals are aimless and failures. They may have a single sense of purpose, so they don't need to set goal because it's a lifetime goal and it's already in their head. So another disadvantage is that, as I said, number two is that you may think that anybody without goals is a failure, is aimless in life. That is not true. Uh, and the third reason, what is the third disadvantage? The third disadvantage I meant of actually setting goals. That easy. The third disadvantage of setting goals that it could make you so focused, you know, on the particular things while you lose sight on others. That way, it could make you narrow focus. It could make you focus on only the things that fall within your goal. You know, it is that thing that can make people so unfeeling to other people's need that they don't care what happens to you so long as their goals are achieved, actually. Or they don't care what happens to you so long as their ambitions are met. And that happens a lot to many people who actually are feeling towards other people because they want to make sure that they are making an omelette, they don't care how many eggs that have to be broken, and they just will get the job done no matter who gets hurt, you know, and that's a disadvantage. Life, there are several paths to the same thing. How people said there are many ways to kill a cat, actually, you know. And so setting goals, the disadvantage is that it could make you think there's only one way of killing a cat, and for you, your focus is just on that one way. But others are killing cats in several ways, and that could be more effective. So it bogs you now on a particular way of doing things, on a particular way of seeing things, and that does not help when you need to find other possibilities to what you said that you're doing. Now, the fourth reason why, fourth disadvantage of goal setting, and I'm surprised so many. The fourth disadvantage of goal setting is that um you the goal that you set, you know, could focus you, on your unmet goals. In fact, your whole life could be programmed to only concentrate on your set goals to the extent that once your set goals have not been met, it means that your life is in shambles, actually. And this has led many to depression. And typical places where this plays out a lot is in the far eastern countries like Korea, Japan, where people kill themselves mostly over unmet goals. The fact they couldn't marry by a certain time, couldn't have kids by a certain time, they couldn't achieve a certain position by a certain time, they couldn't earn a certain salary. All these are all goals. And they've so restricted their life, they've so built their life on these goals that once those goals don't come to pass at those certain times, they think that is the shame of it is so much they need to end their life. Please, many people have lost their happiness in life because they are so focused on meeting a goal that has not been met yet. In fact, those some time ago when foreigners used to come to Ghana, they were shocked at the happiness of the people in the midst of so many unachieved things, you know, so many unachieved things. These people, obviously, because they lived by goals, they expected the people to be sadder because they saw them having so many things around them not achieved. But these people had a different mindset. They believed that so long as they were healthy, so long as they had food, everything was fine. But for a goal-oriented person, an ambitious person, that is not fine. And no matter how well he's fed, no matter how well his house, if he does not become a manager by that time, he does not get a certain promotion by this time, he does not achieve that goal by the time, he has failed in life, and therefore that is all his focus is. And such a person can lose sight of all the good things God has done for him. That person can lose sight of all the great things happening in his life and only focus on that thing that has not been achieved, much to his uh, depression. So that's another very crucial disadvantage of actually setting goals. It can drive you into depression actually. So the first one is that it makes you think you're a failure when you are really not. The second one is that it makes you think others without goals are aimless, which is not really the case all the time. And the third one is that it makes you focus so much on your goals that you lose sight of other possibilities, other ways of doing things, other ways of achieving the same thing, other ways of looking at things. And then we have four. Um, writing goals actually can lead to depression since your mind could be so focused on what has not been achieved that you begin to think your whole life is a failure. And we demonstrated how that thing happens in countries like Asia and the rest, where people commit suicide over what we would consider to be something unimportant, all because it was part of their goals. So, and that as goal has motivated them to see their life as just that goal that has not been achieved. People changing their name plastic surgeries because they want a particular kind of man, a particular, people having so many unreasonable expectations that it ends up leading them in depression and suicide. Finally, this is great. Let's find out the final disadvantage of setting goals. You know, you could be uh, you could be misled by small goals to think you are doing great in life. This is beautiful, actually. And those of you who have not seen my last week video on in this series, last week video in this series, which had to do with crazy goals, go and say it. You know, setting goals could actually make you underachieve in life, actually, especially if the goals that you've set are quite below your capability. And we see that done severally by revenue agencies in developing countries where they keep setting such low targets that even after they have achieved them, several of our revenue still goes down the drain. And because they have achieved their results, they have achieved their goal, they pop champagne and then they thank themselves that they've done well. And yet you go into things quickly and you realize that they are still underachieving the average in other places. They're not even doing 50% of their GDP as tax revenue. And yet they'll be rejoicing because what they met the target. But there's even a phenomenon now where they set the target before, they say because of COVID or because of this, they reduce the target further. And even after the target has been reduced, still, these people, when they achieve, they still celebrate that they have achieved the target. They are so focused on achieving target that they don't even care about the quality of the target they achieve. So these are the five disadvantages of setting goals. Actually, you'll be underachieving, but because it's an achievement, because it's a goal met, you'll be actually tickling yourself and laughing. You'll be thinking you've done something great, and all you've done is just achieve small things. Actually, so let's sum it up again. Um, Setting goal, five disadvantages of setting goals. The first one could be that you may end up being too focused on the goal, much to the neglect of other possibilities. And then you may also think you're a failure because you've failed in meeting your goals, which is also not possible. Um, you could focus so much on your goals and lose sight of other things, and then uh, you could focus so much on the goals that have not been met that it could lead to depression. In fact, it has led people to suicide, not even just depression, but to suicide tendencies because they think they are failing in life because they have set goals because of what is happening in their friend's life. They set goals because what is happening in the what they call it in their peers' life, and they set goals because what is happening in their colleagues' life, and because they are not happening, they think according to the times these people did yes, they think they must be failures. They think that something might be wrong with them, and they end up taking their life because they set goals that they could not meet. It might have been too high a goal, it might have been too lofty a goal, it might have been a crazy goal because they had no way of bringing them to pass. But they see these goals as things that must be done, and become depressed over them because they could not achieve them. And eventually they may end up losing their life. The fifth one, and this is great. Um, uh, yes, you could literally actually um, be moved into fulfilling smaller goals, and you may think you are a great achiever, actually. So you could go into smaller goals, you could go into depression, um, you could be too focused, you lose sight of other possibilities. And then third one, you may think others who don't have goals are aimless. It makes you think that everything must have a goal with it, and therefore, if anybody who has no goal, you may think that person is aimless and therefore does not deserve you to be in this world. And then we have the fifth one where you think you're a failure only because you could not achieve some few goals when there are several other things you might have achieved. Wow. So we've come to the end of another great video on episode on goal setting. As we empower the youth for the empowerment of the youth. I really want you to share this video. I want you to subscribe if you have not subscribed already. I want you to hit the notification bell and let's just spread this word. Let everybody get to know. I have far better things for you in the future. Let's hit 100 subscribers by the end of the second quarter of this year. God bless you, even as you set reasonable goals. God bless you. Remain blessed.